Lindsay Denton had a GAP meeting at exactly the same time. So that's why Clerk Recorder McCormick is here. So appreciate that. I'll text Commissioner Mornis. She has not responded.
It started. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Wednesday, March 20th, 2024, and we'll call this special meeting of the Gilpin County Board of County Commissioners to order. It is now 2:00. And the first order and main order of business is Resolution 24-63, in order renewing the local disaster declaration. And we've got Sheriff Armstrong and the Road and Bridge Director, John Combs, with us. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to meet with you on this. We're requesting an extension of the emergency, local emergency declaration that was filed earlier that expires tomorrow for an additional 30 days. And the reason why we're doing the 30 days is because of the recovery piece that needs to be addressed through the county as we move forward through the effects of this storm, which would put us about April 19th as the new expiration date. That does not mean that we cannot renew that 30 days for additional as needed as a result of the impact of this storm on the county. It's probably going to take a couple of these, wouldn't you say, John, to figure out exactly the total impact on this. And one of the things that we need to make clear, just because we declared a local emergency does not guarantee any type of special funding to this Gilpin County through the state of Colorado. There's a high threshold of $10 million that has to be met. And currently there's just 3 counties that have declared any type of local emergency. Those are Gilpin, Clear Creek, and Teller counties. That doesn't mean that there could be other special districts or other municipalities or counties that could declare as a result of this snowstorm. The totality of all that, not just, Gilpin County doesn't have to have 10 million. It's 10 million total of all the counties that have elected to go with a local emergency. So that's a high threshold that has to be met before we can actually even the state of Colorado would even consider looking at it as a state of emergency. That would free up or potentially give any type of funding to Gilpin County. The process that we have to go through to get to take care of the cost in our county is that we have to be very diligent in our documentation of all the expenses related to this account, this storm. The emergency manager, Melissa Lewis, has done a phenomenal job through this whole process and is sharing information currently with the senior leadership team as well as others to make sure that we are properly documenting all the expenses associated to this emergency. So it could be several months before we find out the totality of this whole thing. So my request is that we extend this emergency declaration, local emergency declaration out until April 19th, and then revisit it, say around April 18th to see where we are at.
So we don't have the 7-day restriction on this like we did with the emergency call? This is the recovery part of it?
It's all part of the same process. So you have the event and then you have the recovery of the event. So it's all one event.
Okay.
And the recovery is just one piece of that.
Okay. And for documented expenses, are we able to document, like say, all the overtime and that was worked by our staff as well? Is that
Absolutely.
a piece that can be counted? Okay.
Absolutely. The other thing that we need to look at too is any damages to houses as a result of this in the county. Some of those damages it could be covered by insurance and which would not apply to the 10 million. But those that are not insured or underinsured could be part of that 10 million.
And the emergency manager is getting that information out to the citizens, or is that
Well, we're working on that,
Okay.
yes.
And is there a time frame for the citizens to respond or to get their information to you back?
As long as the emergency's in, declination is in place, they have the ability to reach out.
Will the residents need to get an estimate then of the repair cost or
Mhm.
the replacement?
Yes.
So that's what they would submit.
The only damage that I'm aware of right now is a barn that has collapsed. That
Right.
there was 2 donkeys and a horse that were rescued out of there earlier.
Thank you to
in the middle of the
G-Cart
story.
for going and doing that.
G-Cart
I
did
thought
a
of-
phenomenal job too. So did
Yeah.
Timberline and so did Myers excavating that
Yeah.
got us into the location because obviously the snow was waist deep or higher on depending on your height.
Okay, right.
You're close, right?
A lot different. Yeah.
I can just see the halo around your head, so I was like.
I'm not sure it's a halo.
And John, then too, if there'd be any damages to any of the county's infrastructure, roads and that would also be something we're tracking and may not know until what the snow melts a bit.
Yes, exactly, Madam Chair. I concur with Sheriff Armstrong that I think it would be in the best interest of the county to extend the declaration for the simple fact that the Road and Bridge team is continuing to work 12-hour shifts. And we are going to continue to do so until we have made it through every road a second time to widen out. And in the process, we are cleaning out driveways that are cleared, which is actually going above and beyond
Hmm.
what a lot of counties will do. So yeah, we're not done with this storm by any means. And they are predicting another snow event for Sunday into Monday. And that could impact this storm even further.
That one's only supposed to be a foot. I heard.
Right, right.
Not
Only a
5.
foot.
You can kick it away. And I did see that, Melissa had sent out an email to the state park too, or they had been corresponding about some damaged equipment or something they had happened.
It's a county-wide, Gilpin
Right.
County-wide
Yeah.
process in which we need to accumulate and identify those damages and also costs associated with this storm.
Yeah.
This event totality until it's no longer part of the it's in our rearview mirror, so to speak.
Yeah, our mechanics even responded to 2 breakdowns today. Because we are just trying to widen out roadways
Mhm.
to make them back as close as they were before the storm. And as Commissioner Hollingsworth said, there's road damage that we may not even be aware of as of yet. Because the roads are very soft and muddy and the equipment, they don't really like that.
Yeah, it makes it hard getting through. Is there anything, I see Melissa is online. Is there anything she'd like to add to the conversation?
Make sure she's able to speak here.
Hello, everyone. Are you able to hear me?
Yes?
Yes, we
Yes.
can. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, commissioners. I just wanted to echo the sentiments of Sheriff Armstrong and John as well, and in stating that the 30 days is definitely necessary. And I am currently working with all of our county staff and all of our mutual aid partners in this to gather damages. And we will be reaching out to residents as soon as we can figure out just a good piece of communication to try to reach everybody to see what type of damages they incurred. Now, sometimes the state gets a little particular, and they want to know if all of the residents that are incurring those damages do have homeowners insurance, which may disqualify that specific number towards our reimbursement amount. So we do have to get into the weeds a little bit with this, but we are going to be getting all of this information in hopes that we do reach that threshold, but still not a guarantee yet.
And I wanted to clarify on that. So if collectively the threshold isn't met, then the homeowners that are submitting wouldn't be eligible for any assistance if the state didn't approve it.
Correct. Yeah, it's going to be a lump sum between the homeowners, the damages and the costs from the county as well as from our mutual aid partners. So it all goes into the same pot, and then they're going to go ahead and the state will sift through and say, okay, well, these folks are insured, we're not going to cover them, or you guys, the county just doesn't reach the number needed for reimbursement, in which no one would get reimbursement.
So it's kind of all or nothing at some point.
Potentially, yeah. There can be a little wiggle room per our state representative, but we'd really have to reach a pretty significant number. So we will see in the days and weeks to come what we come up with.
And then,
I'm sorry, do all these jurisdictions have to declare an emergency at that time or the same time frame as Gilpin and Clear Creek, Jefferson?
They can declare an emergency anytime, and as a result of that, as a result of this snowstorm.
Mhm.
So if somebody's got some significant flooding as a result of that, they can go back and declare.
okay, and I was going to ask
Thank you.
in terms of the other, say Clear Creek and I believe Teller,
Yes.
the others that have declared, will be kind of keeping in touch with them to kind of keep the tab to see how it's going.
We can,
And,
we can work with the emergency managers there, and that Melissa will be happy to do that.
okay, great.
I have a question. I spoke to some friends, an elderly couple, and they are still trapped in their home. I've not been able to get out. They had a friend snowshoe into their property to see if they could help them get their vehicle out. They couldn't. And they're being very patient. They're just waiting for the snow to melt, but I don't know if that's a good idea with another storm coming. Maybe I should let them know. Or do you have they've tried to contact someone to plow them out. I think their driveways maybe, I don't know, maybe 1/8 of a mile or something long. And someone who could go there and clear out their property. Is there a list of businesses that do that? They did contact someone, but they would not go there because they didn't have a trailer for their equipment that they had. It was just local that they were able to help their neighbors, but they couldn't drive to where they lived. So is there a list of somebody they can call to get them out?
I know there's a lot of contractors up here right now But I don't know the numbers
Okay.
and where we're getting a lot of the information or seeing the information is basically on Facebook that are offering their
Mhm.
services.
Okay.
I was going to say, I noticed just this afternoon too, someone, one of the contractors, I don't recall the name, anyway, had posted on Home Sweet Home how to contact their office because their person, they've got so much of their staff is out on site.
Because
So,
they-
yeah, I would
the
encourage
recommendation is go
them,
online to
yeah,
check
to
the
go
local-
online to
Okay.
check.
And just to keep in mind, like in our neighborhood up north, many neighbors had reached out to one specific one that's nearby, and they were so far behind because of the depth and the weight of the snow and no place to put it. But I don't know if your neighborhood has a neighbor to neighbor contact list. We fortunately do up our way, so people were just sending out the word, can you help me do this and do that? And so neighbors were helping neighbors a lot. So that's.
Yeah, they're kind of isolated, so they really don't have anyone close by.
Yeah.
And so I'm just kind of concerned because they think, oh, well, we'll just let it melt. And I'm concerned that if they're just gonna get more and more snow, so.
And
I
they-
referred a couple people to Human Services as well because someone had been in touch and they had a long driveway and they had some physical limitations and didn't know if they could afford to pay for someone too. So that's another thought. They might be eligible.
Yeah,
Some-
I think they did get a quote and they were concerned about the cost, just
Yeah.
saying it was $300 an hour and they were concerned. But there might be somebody else who's available, or they might just have to pay it, I guess.
Yeah, or
If they're eligible for the funding, because we do give emergency funding to Human Services for them to decide whether it's a appropriate situation or not. So
Okay, so I'll mention that to them as far as, so they're concerned, if they think they can't pay for it, to contact Greg. in the emergency funding.
no, that
So I
would,
know there is some money through Human Services. It's not a lot. And it's really geared for one-time small amount emergencies. If someone has a flat tire, they don't have any money for a new tire, or they're not able to make their utility payment this month. So it's a very small amount. And the numbers I've been hearing for clearing driveways are, a much larger amount. And we can't use all those funds on one person's individual driveway. So it comes to their responsibility to secure their own plowing services or needs. in
Okay,
this
well, I
case.
will talk to them about it because I don't think they're aware of a storm coming, but.
And please, and people need to understand, if there's an emergency, call 911 and we will get a deputy out there.
mhm.
Okay.
And if you need food, we will do the same. We will work with our human services and our food bank, which we have done
Mhm.
during this storm as well. So if people need help, they need to reach out in those type of emergency situations. We cannot go out there and plow their driveway.
Right. Yeah.
We don't have the resources in the county nor the funding from the state to be able to do that. And I know that's a misconception just because we went to a local emergency.
Mhm.
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I will follow up with them and help. them.
Commissioner Mornis, do you know, do these people live on a county maintained road or are they on a non-county?
They're off the parkway, but their driveway is quite long.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
yeah. It's a private drive.
Mhm.
So,
Right, and that's, this time is really, because I know our neighborhood as well, we have checked in with one another and to see, make sure everyone's fine if anyone needs help. So it's a good time to maybe think about getting to know who your neighbors are and who may need a little help or who you can help as well. Because driveways and all, it's something that we need to keep in mind. They can be steep and they can be long, and the county we don't have resources to take care of all of that.
And
One of the things that we stress too in emergency management, or also from the sheriff's office perspective, is that because we do live in a rural county and we do live in some isolated areas in the mountains here, that you have a minimum of 7 days worth of supplies of food, medicine, whether it's baby food, formulas, or any of that nature, dog food, dog medicine, any of that stuff, that you have a minimum of 7 days to be able to self-survive or self-contain yourself until we can get things done.
Mhm.
And it's, 7 days is a minimum. So
We-
you want to build on that too.
we should probably be sharing that with our short-term rental licensees as well, since that appears as if that was a problem, so that even the visitors that are coming up, that they're coming prepared. There is a debrief planned for tomorrow where we're going to be working through kind of successes and where we can make improvements in the future. So there's more work to come. And the sheriff is definitely leading that effort. Appreciate that.
Right.
I was gonna go back to the pantry too. I know they were open on Monday. They'll be open again tomorrow. And sometimes they are able to deliver if people need things.
Yeah, I think it's best that, to having grown up in a rural area and then living here for 3 decades now, the best scenario is always to be playing what if in the back of your mind and think of the worst case scenario. And then, you know, having supplies and plans for that. And then, you know, moving on that way, you can make sure you can stay up here for quite a while and keep everybody safe. Are there any other questions or comments in regards to the resolution at this
I
point?
have one more question. The website or the Facebook is Sweet Home.
Home Sweet Home, Gilpin County?
Is that one? And is there another one?
There are lots,
There are
but
quite a few,
I
yeah.
know that Melanie's been putting out information through the
Oh.
county website. Because I remember reading, I don't know if it was on your Facebook or your,
The
yours
list
were
of
both about the 7
contractors.
days preparation that was mentioned.
So I can get with Melanie to get a list of websites to share, Facebook pages to share with my friends.
Well, I think just on search on Facebook, if you put in Gilpin
Yeah.
County,
Gilpin County.
it'll pop up with quite a few groups.
So the
Right.
county does not have a list of contractors, but that's probably going to be one of the things we talk about in the future, compiling a preliminary list. But right now we have no information and we can't just share the 1 or 2 that we may know because that would be unfair to the other contractors
Okay.
we may not know. So
Okay. I'll just tell them to do a search.
And if they, here's too, that some people don't have internet or they don't have Facebook,
Mhm.
seek out a friend that might have Facebook to help you
Right.
through that process.
Right.
And County Manager Rears is accurate. We're not going to recommend anybody because
Right.
that's not our job.
And they might be so far behind anyway. They might just end up being on the long list. But I'm glad you brought it up because I feel like up here, there are people willing to help, but if they don't know who needs help, but once they hear it, they'll be like, oh, I could go do that. So
Yeah.
I think spreading the word is helpful.
Well, I'll certainly contact them.
Okay,
Thank you.
great.
So it sounds like if the board is ready to move forward with the resolution extending the disaster declaration, the request is change the termination date from March 28th to April 19th.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, so if there are no further questions or comments, I'd go ahead, be open for motion.
Okay, I'll move that we adopt resolution 24-63. This is an order renewing the local disaster declaration in and for Gilpin County pursuant to CRS 2433-5-709 and until Thursday, April.
April 19th.
Mine
Is
said
it
that's
19th?
28th.
April
It said
19th. 19th.
Oh, sorry, that's not what this says. April 19th.
No, it was just discussed verbally today. So
Oh, I thought he gave us the update.
A second?
Okay, having a motion and second, all in favor? Aye.
Hi.
Okay, and so the resolution is adopted 3-0. Great, and thank you so much for all your hard work and all you've done. And please let your staff know that we appreciate their work and dedication as well.
Absolutely. It has been mentioned every morning meeting.
We just-
I won't, on record, I did nothing. My team went out and took care of business.
Yes, and they've
But
hung
with
in.
your direction, which is great.
and I can confirm that John did not do nothing. He was very busy, very hard. So I appreciate that, but that is not a full recollection of our.
Thank you, Ray.
Mildy, yeah. I don't picture John as just sitting aside.
Yeah, right.
Upset. Okay, we can go to item 3 if there's any public comment. And it's I don't see any in the room, any online.
Just getting to that page and no one online.
Okay, then we'll go ahead and I'll move that we adjourn. And the time is 2:23 PM. And thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You.
Yeah.
I just said April 19th.
I think the plan was to, before that date, to meet
Yes.
again.
Yeah.
I said until.
Like this meeting here.
Yeah.
Expires tomorrow. The day before, we could have another special meeting to say that we need to extend it.
Yep.
What's that?
I've gotten so many inquiries about, I did all this plowing.
That's a good question, whether somebody's individual cost to clear their driveway would fall into that. Let me find out on that.
I don't know if this is true or not. Maybe John, you know if this is true. Which one? This email right